Money Talk.
This is Akashvani. In the program Money Talk, now we bring you a discussion on accelerating financial inclusion in India. The participants are Sushma Ramachandran, Economic Analyst, and Rajesh Laikh, Anchor.
India's journey towards financial inclusion has been nothing short of transformative. In 2025, with the RBI's Financial Inclusion Index rising to 67, the country stands at the forefront of empowering every citizen through access to banking, digital payments, and financial services. Let's hear what our Mumbai correspondent Nisha Rane has to say about RBI's Financial Inclusion Index rising to 67.
The Reserve Bank has informed that the improvement in the FI index is largely due to the increased usage and better quality, reflecting deepening of financial inclusion and sustained financial literacy initiatives. It added that growth was witnessed across all sub-indices, which include access, usage, and quality. The access parameter reflects how easily financial services are available. The usage parameter indicates how frequently and effectively people are using these services, while the quality parameter includes aspects like financial literacy, consumer protection, and reduction in inequalities and service deficiencies. The index also includes data from various sectors such as banking, investments, insurance, postal services, and pension, making it a comprehensive measure of financial inclusion in the country. The Reserve Bank has further informed that the FI index has been constructed without any base year, and as such it reflects cumulative efforts of all stakeholders over the years towards financial inclusion. Nisha Rani, Akashvani News, Mumbai.
It's a pleasure to welcome Sushma Ramachandran, our economic analyst, to the studio. A warm welcome.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Sushma, the nation has shown remarkable progress.
Yes.
The drivers behind this moment, such as Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana and the digital payments revolution, and the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead for growth for everyone. In such a scenario, what policy initiatives or market developments contributed towards the index rising from 64.2 to 67 in 2025?
Well, I think you have talked about the remarkable steps. I think the most important policy that has contributed is Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which allowed people of all classes, of all categories, whether they were rich or poor, of any caste or gender, were able to open bank accounts without any minimum balance requirement. It even provided an accident cover, and it also provided an overdraft of 10,000 rupees. And it was also ensured that person came to some extent into the formal economy, and those who were beneficiaries of direct benefit transfer schemes were able to get those funds transferred into these accounts, which gave them a great deal of ease of getting these resources, which in past days was given through bank accounts in a very difficult way. They had to withdraw them, they were sent checks, and they might have had to deposit them, but here it just landed straight in their account. So it's a very simple and a very seamless kind of a scheme. As far as the DBT is concerned, in the past it has been said that the benefits of various subsidies, the beneficiaries got probably 10% or 5% of it, but now beneficiaries are getting 100% of the amount that they are due. So this was this particular scheme is of course unique and has been a major initiative. There are other schemes also. We have the Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, which provides, insurance for accidental death and disability coverage. You have the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, which provides life insurance for poor and rural population. You have the Atal Pension Yojana, which guarantees a minimum pension depending on the amount that has been invested by that person. It could range between 1,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees per month, and as many as 7 7.65 crore people have actually subscribed to this scheme. You also have other schemes like the Mudra Yojana, whereby 20 lakhs is provided as loan to small and micro enterprises. This has been a great success, and you have had about 53.85 crores loans sanctioned under this scheme till now. Yet another scheme, Stand Up India, which has helped in greenfield enterprises set up by entrepreneurs. So I think the name of the scheme describes what it is, that people who are at the lowest rung of the ladder, the bottom of the pyramid, it helps them to stand up and earn on their own 2 feet. And then, of course, you have the Mahila Samriddhi Yojana, which provides finances for self-help groups, and also the Kisan Credit Card, which has been a longer-term scheme which provides for the credit needs of farmers. And last, but certainly not the least, as you are well aware, is the United Payments Interface, the UPI, which we are using all the time, every day. Once again, whether you are rich or poor, this level of financial inclusion is quite unprecedented. So the UPI currently accounts for about 85% of all digital transactions in the country. So, I've just enumerated many of the schemes, but I think the first and the last are probably the most important. That is the Jan Dhan Yojana and the UPI.
You're absolutely right. Of all the schemes that you mentioned, the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is the cornerstone of today's financial inclusion strategy. In fact, you mentioned quite a bit about the schemes. PMJDY has penetrated quite a bit into the lives of our people. In fact, 55.98 crore bank accounts have been opened by August 2025. More than 55% of these accounts are held by women, and nearly 67 are in rural and semi-urban areas, a clear indication of success in bridging gender and regional divides. What do you have to say?
Yes, I think that is one of the great successes of the scheme. As you said, 55% of the account holders are women. Now, in this country, we do have a gender divide. We do have a problem that women have not been given the reins of controlling the household. And there is a level of patriarchy in this country. But I must say that the laws and the policies the laws that we have implemented in this country, the policies that are being carried out by this government, they are trying to bridge this divide and ensure that women are empowered. And the very fact that a large number of these bank accounts are opened by women who are probably the head of their households or working women, but it gives them the power to control their finances. They have a bank account within which probably, even if they're just a domestic worker, the employer can put that money straight in the account, and it doesn't have to go, she doesn't have cash in her hands, which can be misutilized perhaps by other members of the family.
You mentioned UPI a while back. So how have digital payments and platforms impacted financial inclusion, particularly in rural and underserved areas?
I think UPI, of course, is a huge revolution. We are now trying to expand the coverage of UPI, not just within the country, to other countries, it's basically, we're going to, I won't say expand, I think we are offering them the benefits of a system that has been so transformational in our country and allowing others also to utilize this marvelous system of UPI. Now, in rural areas, the same issue that I talked about, that whether it is any scheme, government scheme, state government scheme, or private employers who want to pay people, we have had the problem that, how do you deal with this transaction? Do you provide cash? Do you give checks for bank accounts? But UPI goes beyond even the Jan Dhan Yojana. The UPI links your mobile phone, and your transaction goes directly from your...
And the ease of doing...
Not only the ease, there's so much of safety also.
Ease, safety, and immediate.
And immediate. It is linked to your bank account, it's linked to your mobile number, and yet you don't have any fears that anything's going to happen to this.
Sure.
Of course, we have had cyber frauds in this country, but this has not compromised the integrity of the UPI. Those cyber frauds have been done in a different way.
We did touch upon this, but I would like you to elaborate further. Which population groups have benefited most from the rise in the Financial Inclusion Index?
I think it's very interesting that in an urban setting like ours, a very small thing, like if you want to park your car or your two-wheeler in a parking area and you don't have the small amount of cash, which could be 20 rupees or 30 rupees, you can pay that by UPI. And so the digital transaction, and then you have very small vendors at stalls, tea stalls, people who are selling vegetables or small items on the roadside. Even they will say, all right, if you don't have the money, say, yes, exactly. They'll just hold up your phone and, they said, please, send us the money via UPI. And because you don't have change, this creates the problem of not giving the correct change back is resolved by UPI. So small enterprises, tiny enterprises benefit, as we have mentioned. Women, of course, who, want to ensure that their savings remain with them and don't have to be handed out to the rest of the family, maybe the male members, the money can go straight into their bank accounts. So these are in fact, coming back once again to the bottom of the pyramid, I think the bottom of the pyramid has benefited the most. People who are at the upper end of the pyramid have the luxury of credit cards and debit cards and many other financial instruments. But the UPI is such a simple and easy and very efficient and secure system that it has been adopted by those at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah. Despite the gains, Sushma, what major barriers still are prevalent towards gaining full financial inclusion in India?
I think one of the main ones as far as women is concerned, and the concern that if the woman of the house has a bank account of her own, she may not contribute to the overall household income, or she may save something for herself. And that is, of course, a concern. Some people in some families do not allow women. But one of the positive things is that there are many schemes where the subsidies are handed over to the woman who is the head of the household. That is one of the schemes that has been evolved to ensure that women can also are brought into the financial system. There is, of course, the problem of dormant accounts. So many accounts which people open and then, they're not able to, then they move on to another area and those accounts are live and they have, there may be small amounts of money, but these have accumulated and these are important for people. And it's difficult to actually get that money. I mean, this kind of infrastructure, physical infrastructure, still remains in a lot of the banks. And even though we have such wonderful digital payment systems, many of the banks still continue with the outmoded infrastructure, and that creates problems for the clients and the customers.
So apart from the barriers that we talked about, what can be done? What more can be done to bring total inclusion in the nation?
I think one thing that has just been done recently is there was a campaign for saturation of financial inclusion schemes, and about 6.65 lakh accounts were opened. I mean, this was just done in the period of 1 month. So that means that even though we have very large numbers, people enrolled and who have enrolled themselves with bank accounts in the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, 55.98 crores, as you pointed out, there are still people left out of the system, and we need to bring them into the system. So this kind of a campaign, I think, is required, especially in rural areas, because the rural banking systems are not as strong over there, and therefore it's important to bring people into the banking system over there. So I think this is one big area.
Thank you, Sushma, for sharing your insights into India's financial inclusion story, and thank you for being with Akashvani.
Thank you, Rajesh.
You are listening to a discussion on accelerating financial inclusion in India. The participants were Sushma Ramachandran, Economic Analyst, and Rajesh Laikh, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928-909-4044.
Money Talk